Welcome to the seminar, Facing Challenges and Limitations. Where do organized Chinese associations get respect? I'm Ron Chan, founder and executive director of the Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group. We're pleased to present today's agenda as follows.
Genealogy group. No wonder he's
George
on.
Chin will speak about Chinese associations, past, present, and future, and how associations can be leveraged for your genealogy research. Then Ding Li, director of Li Family Association, will share a rare behind-the-scenes view of how associations really work. Then we will have a moderated Q&A. We consolidated and categorized all the previously submitted questions, which we will answer first. You're welcome to submit in the chat additional questions, and we will do our best to integrate them into earlier input. Lastly, be ready to check your calendars and save the dates for our next two BACGG sessions, which will be announced at the end of this evening. So a little bit about George. He's the founder of the Chinatown History and Culture Association. Their mission is to preserve and promote the history of San Francisco Chinatown and help reinvigorate and document the history of Chinese community for future generations. With this unique perspective, and working with associations for much of his adult life. Without further ado, our first speaker, George Chin. And at this time, please mute yourself and turn off your video. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this talk about the history of San Francisco Chinatown's organized association. This evening, we will be focusing on the 6 companies. First, I want to thank Ron, Gail, Jeannie, and the Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group's team for putting up with me and supporting this evening's talk. They have done a lot of behind-the-scenes work to make this happen. I'm grateful for their support. Second, I want to thank all of you for attending. I see many friends and familiar faces, as well as people from different time zones. I'm so honored that you are taking the time to join us tonight. I must say, I'm not a historian, but I'm a really interested student and eager to trace our ancestor footsteps. I have learned so much from the historians, scholars, and speakers who have spoken on this subject before me, including David Lay, Connie Yang Yu, and Din Bong Lee. I'm standing on shoulders of giants. The Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group is a great organization with fabulous members. I'm so honored to be here with you tonight. My name is George Chen. I'm one of the co-founders of the Chinatown History and Culture Association. We are a relatively new organization, but we are passionate about bringing and bridging the gaps between community and the association. We believe that history and culture are powerful tools for building community and connection. They help us connect with our past and our ancestors. They also help us understand each other better in the present and how to move forward to the future. Our organization is doing this by creating community events to draw folks to visit San Francisco Chinatown, our U.S. route, and visit significant historical Chinese pioneer sites in Northern California. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 6th company, a group of benevolent associations that were founded in the 19th century to help Chinese immigrants in San Francisco. These associations play a vital part in the community, providing a range of services, including financial assistance, fund transfer, job placement, legal aid, protection for the new immigrants and their business, and even funeral service. We also will talk about the life of Chinese immigrants who founded and support these associations. They were people who were brave enough to leave their home and family in China to seek a better life in the United States. They faced many challenges, but they persevere and built a strong community in San Francisco. So I hope you join me tonight in the journey to the past. Together, we'll learn about their past and the building of the organized association in San Francisco. So let's get started. For many people in Chinatown, these association halls are the way to connect with each other and with their cultural heritage. Our ancestors come to this country from different regions of China, and they brought with them their own unique culture and tradition. This association was their home away from home. In this new land they call Gamsan, the Golden Mountain. Chinatown is, for some, their grandfather or their father's transplanted rooting place. And I feel it is just as important as their home villages. For some, they have spent more times in this hall than they have in their home back in China. Understanding this can help us learn about these organizations and how they have shaped our community. This evening, I'm also going to share with you many Chinese words. The writing will be in traditional Chinese and the pronunciation will be done in Cantonese. So we look at the different association that is formed starting back in 1849 is the Guangzhou Association. Guangzhou is the people that the members come from the home district of Sunhui, Hokshan. And next is the Samyup. Samyup folks are actually come from near the city of Guangdong, Guangzhou. They are from the Namhoi, Kunyu, Shunde districts. And from Zhongshan, we have the Yangwo Association. Then we also have Yanwo, who are the Hakka people, the guest people, what they call themselves. Taishan, you have the Ning Yung. And together they form the Zhonghua Zhonghuiguan, the Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association, and we affectionately call them the Chinese Six Companies. Hapwo is the Taishan and Haiping members. And then, of course, the Xiuheng. And they group many districts together, and they are formed in a later date. And you will see why in just a minute. Guangzhou, as I mentioned, is the earliest association that was formed. And right now, they are sitting right next to the Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association next to each other on the corner of Stockton and Clay. To understand the history of this era, we need to consider the timeline of the United States and China and the different relationship within. So let's look at the United States. This is the time that gold was discovered in California, that started the California gold rush and the rush of Chinese and everybody else coming here to try to make their fortune. And of course, the big event also is the Transcontinental Railroad that also brought many Chinese workers into this country. In the China side, a lot of turbulence of conflict, wars, rebellions, and also all the nations are looking at China as a market, and they all want to come in and take a piece of it. And it's under this kind of circumstances that our grandfathers, great-grandfathers come into this country. And where did it come from? As I mentioned earlier, the different districts is the name that identify here. But geographically, you can see this is Guangzhou, Guangdong. In here is the province of China, and then the different district. The Taishan, the Shenhui, Haiping is this group here, down to the southwest of this region. And Zhongshan is the one in the middle. And Samyup, the Guangzhou people, the Punyu and Namhoi, they are up northeast. And of course, the Hakka. Hakkas are the guest people, and they've been in Guangdong in different geographic areas. So you cannot group them as a district as the other three, but you can see they're scattered everywhere in Guangdong, but the heavy concentrate is on the eastern side. Let's look at the development of this organized association. How did they evolve over time? And what are the different kinds of association? Well, historian Mr. Kim Mark-Lai, he left us much valuable information. And I have adopted and modified one of his charts. Over here, as I mentioned, Guangzhou is the first one that formed, but throughout these 175 years, they have many internal conflicts, and so they struggle, join together, break apart, and whatnot. The Ning Yung, the Samyup, Yangwo, and Yanwo, they are relatively stable as compared to the Seiyup and the Guangzhou people. Today, this is the lineup of the organized association that makes up the 6 company. But in actuality, there are 7, but they still retain to call themselves the 6 companies. And the new one being Xiuheng, as you can see, is through different turbulence, different internal relationship, it's split out by itself. But as you recall on the few slides back, they make up a large group of districts. The Samyup come on, and they have split out with the Fayuan Association, but the Fayuan Association does not have enough members to be counted as part of the 6 company. There are layers and complexities within the 6 company. There are basically 3, the Weigun, Gongso, and Tong. So in English, everybody is a benevolent association. But in Chinese, you can see that the Guangzhou is a 总会馆. So it's a Ning Yung or Yangwo. They are all 总会馆. Underneath them, for example, I have listed here, is Ning Yung. They have the family association of Li. Li family association is called a Gongso. They are not a Weigun. So in that sense, they are a sub organization underneath the Weigun. And then underneath the Li family, there is also a Hapsing Tong. And this is the Tong. So Classically, they are Guigun, Gongso, and Tong. The Yangwo doesn't have any Gongso below them, and they have the Xin Tong. Xin means kind and be merciful. Xin Hao means funeral arrangement. And so this group of Xin Tong associations, they are special function is for funeral services and cemetery arrangements. Here I show you again the same chart of Yangwo, Zhongwei Gun, and underneath them they have 12 Xin Tong, and then 3 special function commerce association. So altogether, there's 15 sub-assemblies underneath Yangwo, the folks from Zhongshan. However, one of these Xin Tong has been defunct. And the other layer, the Ning Yung Association. Ning Yung has most of the families association below them. So if you go to a Lee's, a Wong, a Ng, a Lau, or other associations, they are a sub-association underneath Yangwo. And this is the single family association. There are also multiple surname family associations. I see on the register list, there are 14 Fongs and 7 Lius that join us. I don't know if they're here right now, but they, as a group, the Liu, the Fong, and the Kong, they belong to the Suyin Benevolent Association. And they are on Clay Street of San Francisco, right in the corner, a huge building. And for myself, the Chen, I see 16 Chens registered for tonight's talk. And Jihao Dokchan is a joint multi-family association for the Chens. And of course, we are partners with the Wus and the Yus. There are only 30 square blocks in Chinatown, but it hosts all the family associations. You can find the Crunching Tigers and Hidden Dragons of all the Chinese American community right here in this 30 square block of Chinatown. This is where all the hidden treasures are, U.S. root, and places where our family association all stop. Our grandfathers and our fathers called these places home, and this was their playground within the street and halls of Chinatown. Yanwo, as I mentioned, is the Hakka people, and they have 2 sub-associations beneath them. The Anping is in the same building, and the Chek Kai is a same village association. And then the Songjing, they are not underneath Yanwo, but they are also Hakka people form the association. So if you look at where all these different people come from and all the different districts, you have to look at the migration of within Guangdong, as I mentioned, of this turbulent era. And basically, you could classify 3 major migrations from the northern tip of Guangdong into the southern part of Taishan, Haiping, Guangzhou, Dongguan, Hong Kong. And this is back in the Song Dynasty, the late Southern Song Dynasty. Everybody is running away from the Mongols coming down from the north. So the three different major migration may be a single individual family migration, a multiple family migration, where different families band together and move. And then, of course, the Hakka. And this is due to the different turbulence that I mentioned, conflict, and of course, the Taiping Rebellion, the most bloodiest rebellion in China. There's 60% of the Guangdong people originated from Guangdong. They call themselves descendant of Zhuge Hong. And this is the tip. This is the area they all started and then fan out to different parts of Guangdong. To give you an example of single family migration, the story of my ancestors, the Qin. They started out in Hongzhou because they were officials in the emperor's court in the Southern Song period. They migrate to Namhong, Zhuge Hong, as I showed the last slide. And then from there, again, because the Mongols are coming down from the north, they also migrate to the very tip of southern part of Guangdong. So this family, the Qin, are my ancestors. When they came down, there's a family of 7 sons. They come down together from Zhuge Hong, but they ended up all in different parts. Different sons settle in a different region of Guangdong. So all of them are eligible really to belong to any one of these associations that I showed earlier. Myself, being a Qin, being from my part of the district, I'm eligible to become a Yangwo member, a Yiying association, Zhongshan Hixintong, also the Chen Family Association, Chenqun, Mok Yung, and Ning Yung, Jihao. Those are all different associations that I'm eligible to become a member. And this is one of the answers to a question that somebody asked. Why did my grandfather belong to so many different associations? The other group is the multiple family migration. This is, I'll give you a sample here, is Leung Lo Guai. And he led about 36 Xunan families, 97 households, over 1,000 people all joined him, migrate from Zhuge Hong down to Sunwei, Leung Kai. And when they did this, when they finished migrating and settled down, they really solemnly pledged to each other that they would band together and help each other and support each other. So that's one of the ways that you will see that different multiple name association being formed. The Hakka. Hakka people is a sub-Han Chinese, but they've been forced out of their home and settle and migrate into the different part of Guangdong, as I mentioned. And because they are the newcomers, they often are forced to settle in undesirable, mountainous, hilly areas. The plain has been taken and occupied by the local people that's already there. And one of the reasons why you might see that the design of their houses, they're all like a fortress, all for defensive measures. This is the Yanmo Association in San Francisco. The other group of the Hakka people come from the Taiping Kingdom. Taiping Kingdom, the Hong Shaoqun, he claimed himself as a brother of Jesus. And so he is fighting and trying to rebuild the Qing dynasty using the religious topic. And so the Taiping people have great connections with all the missionaries in China. So when they fail and they have to flee out of China, the foreign missionaries, able to assist them to flee with their families out of China or into Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and then of course into Hawaii and into the US mainland, American mainland. And because they're able to flee with their family, they have an advantage of the other people that are also immigrant into different world. The other people are mostly single men. They do not have a family. So the Hakka people are able to settle and populate really quickly because they have the advantage of escaping with the whole family. So what is in the name? A quick lesson in Chinese. It's all in the name. Tong. Tong means a hall, a meeting place. Sing. Sing is a victory. So you see a something Sing Tong, most likely they are the fighting arms of an association. So is a Bo something Tong. Bo is protecting, maintaining, ensuring. So Bo On means protecting, ensuring peace. Bo Leung meaning protecting, ensuring goodness. An example, On Leung Tong. On Leung Tong in New York, that means bad news. They are more like a gangster association. So continue on. A Tong, a hall. So if you're a poor boy from the wrong part of China, you're not in the right yup, or in American lingo, born in the wrong side of the track. And if you're not a descendant of the four Swan brothers, the Lao, Guan, Zheng, Jiu, or a Chen, a Li, or Wang, what do? You still need to be in a group of protection and survival. So which association would you allow to join? Well, you're in luck because you can join a group of brotherhood association. And this is the Bing Gong Tong. Gong means justice. Bing means uphold. So Bing Gong Tong is uphold of justice. Bing Gong Tong is a brotherhood. They call themselves the Chinese Freemason. After witnessing a meeting in Bing Gong Tong, a San Francisco newspaper reporter say, "Oh, this is a brotherhood organization, just like a Freemasons." So the leaders of Bing Gong Tong was inspired by this reference of the Freemason. They adapted the organization's crest. They adapted the name Chinese Freemason and some elements of their system. Roles of their organized association in San Francisco. Most of the associations are really aimed for immigrants. The community service, they provide housing, they provide employment assistance, legal aid. They also provide a home atmosphere. You join the same district association, they speak the same dialect. When they cook, they have the same taste of food. You can get news from home because new immigrants coming in, they can tell you what happened in the village. And then later on, there's magazine from home. Most districts has a monthly or quarterly or some periodic magazines, publications with news and photos of your home. And because of the networking, many of the news from different part of the world, different part of the United States, also feed back into this newspapers and magazines. And so you got pretty much updates on what's happening at home. The association, the sixth company, also preserves history, culture, education, and language. They also provided a protector role. Protection not just for you physically, but also for your business. They use legal means. They also use financial means, boycotting. For example, the Sam Yup people are not allowed to go into the Say Yup people's market to buy things, and vice versa. So they try to protect and help their own district members to work and serve within each other. Some of the accomplishments of Chinatown's organized association. First thing they did was start temples. So there are many old temples within Chinatown. Guangzhou is one of the older temples on the corner of Clay and Stockton. And most of you know that there are also other temples, Tao temples scattered throughout California. And most of them are started either with the sixth company or Kong Tong. The other accomplishment is they built cemeteries. Loksan Cemetery is built for the association. That's why they call it the Sixth Mountain. The sixth company owns the Sixth Mountain Chinese Cemetery. And this is in Daly City. The early Chinese immigrants were buried within the city limit of San Francisco. But as the city developed, all of the cemetery were relocated to nearby cities like South San Francisco, Coleman, and Daly City. Lincoln Park, as you see, was an early cemetery site for many people in San Francisco. But when they moved everybody out, they moved to not be buried within this area. But a lot of the remains are still untouched underneath the golf course today. The only remainder evidence is the Guangzhou tomb right in the middle of the fairway. The sixth company not only handles matter of the members in passing in the United States, but they also facilitate the reburial of bones back to their home villages. And this is done through the Donghua group of hospitals in Hong Kong. They have a deep-root relationship with the six companies in San Francisco. So the Donghua hospitals were funded with donations from wealthy merchants who had made their fortunes in the United States, in U.S. trades, and some of them were actually returned overseas Chinese from either America or Southeast Asia. But unfortunately, due to the change of leadership in China in the past 100 years, it affected the frequency and the process of bone reburial. Many early Chinese pioneers did not really reach their target home cemeteries for various reasons. On the right here is in Sunway. This is the burial site of many of the bones that got returned into Hong Kong and into China. But because their identity was lost, either they don't know who they are when they first are buried, or the identity is lost due to transportation. Many of these graves have no names. The Donghua Yi Zhong, in English, is the Donghua Coffin House. It started in 1899 in Hong Kong as a collection point of different bones that got shipped back into their possession and then retransferred into China. So this is the collection place before they hit China. And today it is a historical site for Hong Kong. There are many records, death records, and receipt records. Some of them, however, are in pretty bad shape. So there are projects of restoration within the Donghua Yi Zhong. And here's a letter from Guangzhou Association, San Francisco, shipping back 240 sets of human remains. Of course, the Chinese school, that's one of the important things that the sixth company does, is putting a school on top of the building at the Victoria Hall, where they have town meetings with the Chinese community. The next one is the hospital. The Chinese hospital traces origin back to 1899. It started as a dispensary. They are affiliated with the Donghua group of hospitals in Hong Kong. And later on, it was built on this current site on 835 Jackson Street, where they are now. And as you can see, it's modernized quite nicely. And even Bruce Lee, he was born in this hospital. The Chinese fight a lot for injustice. So from 1882 to 1905, there are over 10,000 cases the Chinese American sued the US government for. And finally, the Supreme Court say, enough, no more. They are tired of paying from the sixth company. But as you can see, they established many major landmark cases that not only benefit the Chinese American, but it also changed the life of everyone who lives in America. The right to public education, the birthright citizenship, Miranda Act, bilingual education, all of this come from the sixth company in Chinatown. However, my theory is back in the 1800s to the early 1900s, the sixth company were somewhat controlled by the Qing government because the Qing government issues diplomatic visas to the head of the district associations. And so So the heads are basically appointees from the Qing government. The turning point comes during the Gary Act. Gary Act requires all Chinese people to carry ID cards. So the six companies told everyone to ignore it. The case went all the way up to the Supreme Court and the Chinese laws. And because of that, they lost the trust and they lost the control of the district assembly, the district associations. So the power of turning from the Qing government appointee is now in the hands of the merchants in San Francisco, Chinatown. Talking about protection, well, they are protecting each other, but they also fought each other. And here we see the different landmarks in California, in the Northern California, between the Samyup and the Yanmo. And they're basically a carryover of conflict of interest and grudges from China. They brought it all the way across the pond. A little bit of exaggeration. On the marker here, so in the year 1854, this is in Riverville. They say there's a battle of 2,000 participated. Well, I think the town probably have 2,000 Chinese residents, but I don't think all of them participate. So where did the town get the respect? Well, this group of association were founded in the 19th century to help the Chinese immigrants in San Francisco. They play a vital part in the community, and they provide a wide range of services, such as the one I talked about this past hour. They were also instrumental in developing Chinatown by building business, schools, hospitals, cemeteries, and other institutions that help to create a full community for Chinese immigrants. They were willing to help the members to defend the justice. So the six companies still done quite a bit, but they also face many challenges. They still persevere, even due to discrimination and racism. They have shaped San Francisco Chinatown into a place where it is today. And here I want to thankful to all of the association and the leaders. The Ning Yung Association, Mr. Thomas Ng. He have devoted large part of his life in being the leaders of the associations Ning Yung. Within the six company, this gentleman is 90 plus. And every day he walked all the way up all the stairs into the office of Ning Yung. And among many other projects, he single-handedly reconstructed and reformed the Six Mountain Cemetery. Their operation, the physical outlook is a marvelous achievement. As I mentioned, David Lee need no introduction to this audience. He has given many talks on tonight's subject, and I truly appreciate his contribution and guidance on tonight's talk, as well as to the Chinese community. Ding Li on the left, I will introduce him a little bit later. He is the other speaker for tonight. Harry Jin. Harry is the current president of the Jin Sun Hall Association. He's a retired social service administrator, born in the United States, good commands of English language, and he's open to talk. His brother Hao Jin was the previous president of the association, and he had reserved a room at Jinsen Hall as a research room. This room is not quite ready, but they're working on it. The Far Yun Association, Chris Kong, he selflessly shared their collection of cemetery records dating back all the way to 1916. And most of these records have been typed, but not yet digitized. Speak very good English, and definitely have no problem communicating in the English language. And next is the Zhongshan Longdou Tongxin Tong. Tongxin Tong, as I mentioned earlier, the xin is the special function of funeral and cemetery, and they own land of cemetery in the South San Francisco area. And this gentleman, Harry Wong, he's a retiree. He spoke English quite well, and he's open to talk. Larry goes up to the association every Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon, you're able to find him. And Sam Liu is the president of the association. This is Gary Wong. Gary Wong is in Hawaii. You can call him, but I doubt he will come over to see you. But he is in Hawaii, and he understands. And we talk about the different challenges of the association. And he's ready to open up his association to accept other members. And doesn't have to be a Hakka. It's some of the challenges and questions. And this is basically provided by Harry Jin. Some provoking questions. And we can talk about that. And we need to understand that a little more. Because definitely there's change and needs of the Chinese American community. A lot of people pass away, getting older, aging. Their children get good education, has a good job, move them down, they live with them in the suburbs, away from San Francisco. So the reduction of membership and the leadership is definitely a big challenge because of generation gap, language gap, and also gender gap within different family associations. But however, we could do data mining at the Tong. What does this Chinese American Association have that might be of interest to researchers in genealogy? Well, they have membership records. They have debt records. Some of them have Japo. There's payment receipts with your grandfather's name on it. As I mentioned earlier, there are magazines coming from China, coming from different regions of the world. There are photos. If you pay attention of the pictures I show you of the different association halls, you can see many, many pictures hanging on the wall. This is the Zhongshan. This is the Lees. This is Jinsen Hall. They all have pictures on their wall, and some of them you might find your father or grandfather. There are also artifacts with the donor's name. If you look at the writings, the drawing, the pictures and whatnot, they all have names on it. So you can do data mining at the Tong. definitely find many, many hidden treasures. They also have great network. They have a worldwide network, not on the web, but the physical relationship. They have and the corresponding associations in different parts of the United States, Southern California, Australia, England, Hawaii, you name it. Most of the bigger associations has corresponding associations throughout the world. They also have hometown connections. They have really good connection with the local government and the overseas Chinese office. They are also from the same home village of your grandparents or your father. They have first-hand information on those villages. You don't have to travel all the way to China to talk to people of your home village and understand and recognize what is available, what is there in those home villages. And we can do this with good intention and good spirits of cooperation. We can do data mining because after all, this is Gamsan, the Golden Mountain. So in conclusion, the story of the 6 companies and the Chinese Tong is a powerful reminder of importance of community and resilience of the Chinese American spirit. For over 175 years, even though they face so many challenges, they are still able to make significant contribution. The Tongs plays an important role in the community. In the recent years, they have faced other challenges I mentioned earlier, but most of them are continue to evolve and meet the need of their members in the community. For example, some of the Tongs are now open up and accepting women onto their board. They're offering programs and services to younger generations, work to promote Chinese culture and heritage in new and innovative ways. We can play a role to support the work of the 6 companies, the Chinese Tong, and other organizations that work to improve the life of Chinese Americans and preserve the history. We can talk about the different ideas. And hey, what's the next step for you? We're opening up Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group, talking about forming a special interest group about Chinese associations and help individuals connect with these groups. You send the email to Jeannie, Gail. I'm sure we can see the demand and the amount of interest, regardless you have experienced what the association or not. Of course, any Cantonese speaking folks, we need you. And even better if you read and write Chinese. And we'll try to develop a roadmap, how to locate and connect with your association. You're willing to devote some of your time, your skill set to the association, we can help you develop a relationship. Your skill set may be helping them digitize their paper records, for example. For us, the Chinatown History and Culture Association, we're willing to delegate some resources to support and assist the Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group. Currently, I'm thinking about targeting this couple association as the top tier of interest. The Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association, the Ning Yung Association, the Lee Family Association, of course, my Chen Family Association, and possibly the Kong Tong, because Kong Tong has so many sub-assembly, so many sub-associations throughout Northern California. Every little town, you'll find them and their footprint. We definitely want to chase that history and make that available to everyone. And we could help schedule and conduct some guided tours to the above mentioned association if there is a interest and a demand. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Ding Li. He's a great friend, a good working partner. We've done many projects together, and a couple still in the work as we speak. Ding's been in, around, and over San Francisco Chinatown for quite some time. Judging on his titles, you know he has also worked and contributed to many six companies and other association success. He's part of the founding director of Chinatown History and Culture Association. He was the past president of the San Francisco Six Company. Currently, he's the director of History and Culture Community within the Six Company. He's been a senior team member of Chinese Hospital, Ning Yung, Benevolent Association, the Lee Family Association, and also Be Chinatown. So this is the slide that Dean will be talking on. Pass it on to Dean.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, George. Hello, everyone. My name is Ding Li. My currently work for Six Company as a Chinese secretary. Okay, this is my side work. Actually, I'm still a board director and Chinese Six companies for more than 25 years. The reason brought me in the six companies because I came from the Hoi San family. Eventually, Hoi San family is a Ning Yang Association. So Ning Yang Associations is 49% the board directors in the six companies. So Ning Yang is the backbone of the six companies during the last 120 years. Actually, I came from the little village in Hoi San, and that's the little town means in San Francisco, 1064 Stockton Street. The name called Li Xing Yi Tong. The Tong, that means a village. That's our hometown in Hoi San, a little village. About in the old days, I overheard they might about 2,000 populations. This a little village. The people come from the United States. They organized the Li Xing Yi Association about 100 years ago. And these organizations, they have 4 board directors in Ning Yung Association. I'm so fortunate. I'm the member of the Lee Seng Yi Association, and then I become the member of the Lee On Dong Association, because the Lee On Dong Association is a Lee family belong to Ning Yung Association. But yet to remember, you must be the Hoi San people and then can become a Ning Yung Association member. Eventually, Ning Yung Association belonged to CCBA, it means a Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association, as a CCBA, the Chinese six company. The reason brought me in to all these four levels, the organizations, because my father, he was the member of a Ning Yung Association during 1966. I become the member of the Ning Yung Association. So it was in 1987 as a very regular member. Okay, you're supposed to a member and then you can get into the management levels. I remember at that time, my father helped me pay for the association fees at $2 per year. It was at 1987. It's only paid once, and then you become a member. And then when you're a member, you eligibly become a board director if your family association will prove you become the board director. For the last almost 30 plus years, I serviced from Lee Seng Yi Association and the Lee On Dong Association and Ning Yung Association until today. I'm still the board directors of Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association. The reason, from my experience, these four organizations can work and contribute their financially, physically to the community. My experience is feeling they got a strong financial support. Honest, if any organization with the financial support, they could be success. And beside that, we have a good bylaws. It's a transparency, honest, and the power, balance the power, and everybody to follow the bylaw. And in the Ning Yung Association, the leadership is rotated. They have 24 years a table to rotate all the leaderships. Every year we have to change it. All the leaders, even though they coming in and out every 2 or 3 years, that means you cannot stay one position more than a year or more than 2 years. So that's make the association can function correctly and keep track in the right direction. That's my experience. And in the old days, our ancestors, they create a new bylaw. I just feel grateful. for that. Like a 6 company, we have 7 associations. In Ning Yung Association, the president of Ning Yung Association into the management, they only take a 1-year term. Besides that, another 6 companies, they should take 2 years a term. Why? Because Ning Yung Association at 6 company, he take about 6 months to become a presiding president. And then the rest, the 6 organizations, they stay there for 2 years, means 24 months. But they only take a 1 turn, a presiding president, only for 2 months. That's why they have to stay there for 2 years, and then they can become a presiding president for only 2 months. On the other side, Ning Yung Association, the president, the 1 year, he already got 6 months for presiding presidents. That means January, February, presiding president belongs to Ning Yung. And March and April is Zhao Qing, Benevolent Association. And then come back, and May and June is go back to Ning Yung Association. Okay. And the July and August will be Hub War Associations. The chairman become a presiding president. Like this month, September the 2nd and October, Ning Yang's chairman become a presiding president too, until the end of October. And from November the 2nd to December, the Guangzhou Association president become a presiding president. And then the end of the year, Ning Yung Association chairman turns up, and then he's supposed to leave and wait for next year's the new Ning Yung chairman. You can remember that in between January to December 2023, only 3 organizations become a presiding president, right? Zhao Qing, Hub War, and Guangzhou. So what about the next another 3? Well, that's why they have to stay 2 years. So that's the 2024, then other 3 remain associations like Young War, Sam Yap, and Yan War. These 3 organizations totally take about 6 months, right? And then rest of the 6 months will be the new Ning Yung president will take over that 6 months of presiding president. That's why all the management power transaction, every 2 years, every year is running just like that for last more than 120 years. This, I don't think that is a perfect, but the better, they do not have a power struggle. Everybody runs for smoothly to follow the tables. 2 years a cycle to run for this management. For That's I feel the 6 companies surrounding this management to do a lot of things. And go back to my hometown, Lee Sing-yi Association. We have a 12 members in the Liandong Association. The board only total is 25 board directors. Lee Sing-yi Association have 49% too. And I'm so fortunate I can represent the Lee Sing-yi Association to represent Liandong Association to become a board member in the Ning Yung Association, which Ning Yung Association have 9 board directors in 49 board directors in Ning Yung. The number to follow is Wong family is the biggest large group in Ning Yung Association. They have 11 board directors. The second large is a Lee family. We have 9 board directors. The third with the G family, G-E-E, Ju Pui Gok Tong. They have 4 board directors. Okay, like George, he mentioned that So Yun Tong. So Yun Tong, they have only Louis family and Kong family is Hoi San. And rest the Fong family are Hoi Ping. Hoi Ping not belong to Hoi San, so Fong not the member in Ning Yung Association. So Louis family have 3 members, board director. Fong family have 3 of them. Chin family, like George, your family has 3 board directors in Ning Yung.
Excuse me, Dean.
Yeah.
I think we're running short of time. Can
Okay.
we go to the question and answer?
Yes, fine.
Yeah, thank you for the information. This is very interesting. Because there's so much information on the 6 companies, it's really difficult to cover all of that. So Ron, I think in the interest of your members, maybe there's a couple questions that you want to ask, and Dean and I can hopefully answer them for you.
Absolutely. Let's start the moderated Q&A questions. We received many questions before this seminar, but I kind of grouped them all together and put them in topics. One is, how do associations operate? Second, how can associations help with my family history research? And third, what are the future of associations? So the first question to George and Ding, since this is a genealogy group, of course, we're most interested in what do you think the best tips are to help me do my research through the Chinese associations?
Dean, you want to tackle that?
Yes, that is quite complicated. First, I know, got a lot of people ask for the same questions. If I'm an American-born native, how can I find out my ancestors? And unfortunately, you must be Hoi San first, and then we can help. Or 6 companies can provide different village, different counties for you. So you have to make sure where you come from. Like you come from Zhongshan, we can help you go to Yongwo. If you come from Sam Yap, Nam Pun Sun, that means Nam Hoi, Pun Yu, Sun Tak, we can refer you to Sam Yap associations. You check the village's background, and they got the answer to you. Okay, so you have to make sure where you come from first. Okay, The association run just by we got revenues by all the we got a property, we got a rental properties, we got a steady income that can keep the association running. Okay, for the genealogy part, we only have cemetery records, but if for the immigrants or the old days, we seldom have that kind of data to keep our association. So, like you, can you tell me where you come from? Your village?
Yongsan.
Dongsan. I will
Yes.
reference you to Young War associations. And then they will find out what district you have, and then try to find out your grandpa's name or your father's name or whatever the relatives, and they might help or refer you back to China and go to Zhongshan as the local government. They might provide the help to you too. So you might have my phone number. I knew the chairman of the Young War Association is Raymond Ma. He's recently Young War's president in
Right.
6 company.
Right.
If you can remember, my phone number is 415
Yeah.
652.
Can I tackle that one a little bit?
Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, that Jeannie and I and Ron has some plans. I think it's not easy to break in and the data bank, so to speak, and pull that out, but it's available. Some of this information is available, and the members who want to do research have to work with us. We have, like Dean said, you have to have some information for us to be able to help you. But if we work together, we understand your need. We understand how much information you have. There is a way to crack the code. So I think we definitely have to identify the what first. What is it that we're trying to tackle? It's not just say, can you find my grandfather? Nobody can do that.
Yeah.
But if you have information, different traces of information, we can definitely help you and work with you.
Well, this actually leads into the next question too, which is perfect. And the comment was, I can't speak Chinese. I don't know who or how to contact my association. So the question is, we talked about the special interest groups. How is that going to help us potentially?
Okay, let me take that one. It is all relationship. You do not call up a number on the phone book and say, hey, I want to get death records or so and so. That's not going to happen. But again, back to the last answer, if you know what you're looking for and you're willing to work with us and you're willing to build a relationship with the association that you have targeted, we are willing to work with you.
Okay. So I have a personal story and then I have a question. So I know that sending bones back to China, to the ancestral cemetery is really important. And also early settlers didn't really come here to live and settle, but to work and send money back to China. But here's the story that my grandmother told me, and that is her brother died in the 1920s or 30s. She took the bones, shipped it back to China, but in the South China Seas, pirates seized the bones, knew it came from Gamsan, and held the bones for ransom before they would be released. And my grandmother had to pay the ransom. So here's the question. Did Chinese associations keep records of remains sent back to China? And how do we access these records?
I heard a lot of stories about that kind of story too. the most key station, you go back to Hong Kong. Okay. If your first, I had to know where's your grandpa, your grandma, the village is. Are they still at Zhongshan, right?
Yes.
From understand the Zhongshan. Okay.
Yes.
You might chat with a Young War Association or chat with a Lokshan Cemetery. Okay. If they during the 19th century or 20th centuries, they take off the bone from the cemetery, they ship back to China. But the transfer station must be in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, you got a good spot to research. It's a Donghua Samyun Chinese hospital over there. They got a full records, even don't know the date and how many bones been shipped back from United States or San Francisco, go back to Hong Kong and transfer to Zhongshan. They got a good systems during that time. Okay, if you got a chance, so lucky, one the person from Hong Kong Donghua Yiyun, one of the supervisor, she will come over to next month, and like October the 5th or something like that. And then she might help you. If you got my phone number, right? And then you ask George, and then when the lady, she's a lady, when she arrives, I will introduce you to her. Let's see, she might can help you. At least give you a source to find out. Because in between San Francisco and Hong Kong, we got a lot of mails or letters in between that time until the 1949. I still got a book about 6 inches thick, and then all the records they over there. Check with the Hong Kong Donghua Samyun.
Yeah. Yeah, if you recall in my talk, there is a slide about that. The Donghua group of hospitals is definitely the interconnector for any overseas Chinese that's sent back into trying to go back into China, regardless of from America or Southeast Asia. So Donghua Yizhong is the name of the place, and they have a lot of records. I think they have more records than each individual association. I think the association, when they send it out, they feel they already done their job. Some record might be kept, some record might be lost, but when they come back to a collection place in Hong Kong, that's where the central information is. And if you recall on my slide, there are people doing restoration work on those books, deteriorated books. So yes, the record is available, but it's not complete, and it's really difficult to trace. And it takes special skill set to restore those. I saw a book in San Jose. We do have a part of land in San Jose, the abandoned Chinese cemetery, and their book of records of bones reburial and sent back to China. So there are some records available, but really loose. Still back to the square one. What is it that you're looking for? How much information you have, and how much pieces of the puzzle we can put together for you.
So between George and Ding, you talked about the records. What type of information can you really get from these records? I mean, how did the association compile, any type of biographies, or is it just birth and death or association membership? What is in these records?
Yeah.
But
Dean, you want to talk about that?
On your situation, if you're Zhongshan, you first go to Young War Association, got a reference, and then you try to contact Donghua Yiyun, Donghua Samyun in Hong Kong, and send the bone back to the hometown, not just United States. They from Australia, from Central America, from Britain, lot of place, they do the same thing. That's the only Chinese have that kind of functions. So that's amazing. So I still strongly recommend you find out what's the year your relatives, the name, and about which time, and send back to China. That's the source. That's the tip. Can find out from Donghua Sam in Hong
let
Kong.
me jump in there a little bit. The older the records you're trying to reach is more difficult. After 1911, after the revolution, and when things are settled a little bit, it's no longer the Qing dynasty. It's getting into the modern world. There's more records available. For example, like I mentioned in one of my slides, Chris Kong from the Far Yun Association, he was able to show me all of the burial records, the death records of the Six Mountain. So it's all typewritten. Okay, so it's really easy to scan and OCR. And this is what I'm talking about. We need volunteers. We need people that want to get some of this record to put in some work. There's no free lunch. If you're willing to help, you're willing to work with us, we could help the association by digitizing their records. I know David Lay and his group have done a lot of scanning and photographing of many, many records. We have even worked with the My China group to try to digitize and put some of this information on the cloud. Some of the intended project that we have in CXCA is to work with the local volunteers, and hopefully we were trying to recruit some volunteers from China, since a lot of the younger people does not have a job in China. They're really difficult to find jobs. So maybe we can create some synergism here that we can help each other. We can help modernize the organization in San Francisco to get them digitized, to get them on the cloud, so it's searchable. Right now, there's a lot of records, but it's in a piece of paper. You're lucky if they got typewritten, but most of them are maybe handwritten. We've done some work with David Lay.
The question is, what kind of data may be in the record?
Right. So some of this is death records. The most of them available is death records. There's some membership records. They're not that organized. Again, back to who is your grandfather, which association they belong to. Then we can go to and say, that you have record of this individual being a member. Back into the 1800s, they have to also pay their dues before they can leave and go back to China. So those are payment records that is being collected. So they are this kind of a thing. Membership records, I mentioned in my slide, membership records, death records, some like the Lee Family Association, they have the Japo. Some families do have Japos. There are payment records. Again, on the wall, there are pictures. Maybe you can find your grandfather or your father being a member of the association. There are magazines that might have your ancestors' picture on it because they've done something, they donated something back to our school in China back in 1905 or something like that. So information is available, but it's not readily searchable. You have to think on it, and that's why we talked about that. How much interest do you have, and how much time do you have to work to help to get some of this information out, so we can make it organized and available. I mentioned also Harry Jin and Ho Jin. They have a room that they put aside and say, this is my research room. There's a lot of records in there. but it takes work to get them out, to get them organized, to make them available and searchable.
You know, I've been looking at the chat, and we literally have attendees from coast to coast, and even in Hawaii. And so the question is that people live in different areas. Do the associations all form and function the same way in San Francisco as opposed to everywhere else? And if you're everywhere else outside of San Francisco and the Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group, where do they go? How do they find the association?
Very good question. Very good question. Dean, you want to talk about the networking of the association?
Honest, I don't know. They might be, and the only way I know is Vancouver and Victoria do the same thing. But if Hawaii, I had no idea. I didn't look at that area, so I don't know.
But nevertheless, every association has their own network.
Yes.
The Lee Association they were all over the world. They have conventions. They know each other. They talk to each other. So, but every association is different. How much connection, how much are they willing to put together is up to the individual. But again, I think if we know the what, we can at least tackle and say, there's a way to get to that. And here are some of the paths, and here's some suggested paths. And as Jeannie and you and I talk about is we really need to start forming some group and say, what are the real questions? What are relevant questions? Not just for historical sake, but for finding somebody's ancestor. Somebody might say, in Boston, I have this person that I know is a member, but I lost that after he passed or whatever. Then we have something real that we can put together and say, what is the association in Boston that we can talk to, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, one last question.
Let me give you a quick story. Do we have time?
Oh, good. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So last year, when you and I talk about the Chin group information and whatnot, there's one individual, American, not a Chinese, but he marries a Chinese woman, and they were looking for their grandparents' house. He only gave me a name of the location, but within a very short time, I was able to connect with the local government in that surrounding area, and they were able to find me the house, give me a photograph and video of the house and say, this is their grandfather's house. And we know exactly because we know the grandfather that has been back and building the house or renovating the house and whatnot. So it is possible to find something, even if you feel I don't have that much information. But if you have some real factual information that we can go on, there's hope. Again, like I say, this is Gamsan. This is the Gold Mountain. We can dig into it.
Okay, this is the last question. And we talked about the past quite a bit. And I like to spend at least just 2 or 3 minutes on the future. Because, for early immigrants, the role of associations were really critical to the assimilation and survival. But today, right now, what's the role in future for Chinese associations now?
Dean?
That's the good question too. We've been studying that subject for more than 20 years, all the time in our Lee family conventions, which we take every 3 years to got a convention, a different East Coast, and rotate the East Coast and West Coast every 3 years. Like we just got our 24 Lee family convention in Chicago, and then the next convention will be in Portland or Seattle for next 3 years. Okay, the subject: how can we attract the American-born, the new generation to go back to the associations? That's a top subject, a priority to us. for Lee family, we are so fortunate. We Lee family have our own credit unions, so federal credit unions. We are the only one family run the credit unions in the United States. Only one family run. It's a Lee family run. Like a San Francisco branch, we have about 13 million access. Okay, that will attract the people. We have a management. We all volunteer. We have 7 board members. We have a long committee, we have education committee. We have and different committees, and we every year we got an annual meeting. We try to convince the people to join our group, even though we got 7 board members, but our board we enlarged to about 15 members to join this management. We all volunteer, and then we use English to the main language, and then that will they so interesting, and then after years they will become the member of a Lee Association or become the management. My first job, my first title, I was get into it, the Lee Credit Unions, a board, not the board man, just a regular staff. Since 1989, I become the staffing in the credit union board. And then from that time, I become and get into the Lee Association. That's the Lee families. And also Lee Family Association have U groups. U groups, we had a lot of Kung Fu Sifu and lion dancing group. You know, in Chinatown, Lee Family Association U groups, we have a lot of lion dancing kids. And then we assign one level in 111 Waverly, the 4th floor step Lee buildings. The 4th floor, we let all the U groups to do the exercise every day over there. And then keep attract all the Lee family members, become the U group member. And when they grow up, and then they will still get connecting to the associations. That's the 2 ways. And also during the convention, we try the bilinguals, try to instant translate it from Chinese to English, from English to Chinese. That's the way we keep our communicate to each others. That's the way we do about more than 10, 15 years now. And the results are quite good.
George, would you like to just take one more minute and close and
Okay.
tell me what your vision of the future associations are?
Well, I'm not within the association or 6 company like Dean, but I think just listening and just when I prepare for this talk, I have talked to many leaders of different associations. I think definitely the association need to understand today's environment and how to address the future. From my own perspective, and I think a lot of the members and say, you know, what do we want to leave for our grandchildren? What do you want them to know? So the more that we work on and put together, even though the association is not there to get it done, if you want the records and you want to digitize them, come on, let's do it together. Let's get it done. I think those, you know, we have to put in some of our energies and some of our skill set to modernize the association. And I think the association by itself cannot do it, except maybe the Lee Family Association. With 13 million, you can do a lot of things. But I think some of the smaller associations, like the one that Harry is in, you know, I think they can band together. and maybe work with us. You know, the CXCA. You know, we trying to do and fill some of those gaps. I think we are small in size and we are more mobile. It's a lot easier for us to come into a project and create a project and go after it. The association might take 6 months after a couple of committees talking and whatnot, and they might decide, nah, we don't want to do it, that type of thing. So I think each member need to look at it and say, what can I do for the association? Rather than saying, what can an association give me? You know, just like John Kennedy said, you know, you need to put in a little more energy. You need to put in a little more of your know-how and skill set, and let's help them modernize. Let's get to the future. You know, if we don't even get here today, how can we talk about tomorrow?
That's a great way to end, George. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ding. I just want to tell you, as a third generation Chinese Americans, you know, I learned so much today. And let me be the first one to raise my hand to join your Chan SIG. So just a reminder, if you wish to join the SIG, please email Gail and Jeannie, and emails were listed before. So we're going to be closing out the year for BACGG with 2 in-person and Zoom sessions. So check out your calendar right now and save the date for October 19th between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And I will, Ron Chan, will be presenting digitizing and documenting your family history. And what you're going to learn how to do is create your own digital family history, create oral history using artificial intelligence, and scan and restore photos for free. Then afterwards, there's going to be a tour of the Family Search Center on how to leverage the vast genealogy resources they have for your research. So here's the second date. Save the date. November 8th, 11 to 1 p.m. Pacific. The topic's going to be Our Moms, Chinese GI War Brides from Pre-War China to Post-War America. Hear how 4 GI brides lived, struggled, and persevered through extraordinary times, immigrated to America with new husbands under the 1945 War Brides Act, and how they helped others find their way to become Americans. BACGG members Leona Lau, Lester Din, Evelyn Sito, and Jeannie Young will share their personal and historical stories of their moms. So visit bacgg.org for future details and events. So on behalf of the Bay Area Chinese Genealogy Group, thank you for your time and attention. Be well, be safe. Bye for now. Take care.
Thank you.